Hello, today is Monday, the 12th of December. Welcome to today's silver analysis, and I want to go over trend lines. So the information that you normally see as far as Fibonacci values and the 18-period average will not be shown. So let's get started. This is a quarter-day chart with each candle representing 6 hours worth of data. Right now the market's currently down a little bit today as it is entering the lower end of this range, and it's pretty much already there if you use the area, which would be from really in here. So it's now in that lower level. Now I want to do some trend line analysis. You can what's the best one in here? You connect 3 points here. You can connect a line something like in here, and it's currently at the bottom end of this range. So you might think, okay, well, that's an area where it's at least going to bounce and make it to the top part, and it can. But what's important to note, that when you break a trend line like this, either on this downside support line breaking below here, that can have some scary size moves, but really create lots of volatility. That move can be a fake move that can bring it back within the range, but again, a lot of times you don't know, which is the same as breaking a chart towards the upside. This will be multiple time frame, so I'll be going back and forth towards this spreadsheet to get different time frames. This is a daily chart. You can only see part of it, but I'll just merely paste it onto the screen, and there you can see it. Now for trend lines in here, let's see, which one would be the best? You can connect this trend line, and well, obviously this one's still intact, but overall this thing is really in a complete mess, and I've been mentioning that for quite some time. And the complete mess is this entire run within here. Now, one thing you can mention is that this previous level of resistance has been acting more towards the level of support, which has been true, but again, breaking below the support line in here, things can get extremely dangerous. Now let's switch this on to the 3-day chart, which may explain things a little bit better. Because if we do a trend line analysis, we can start the trend in here and then move this towards the upper end. There is no violation as of yet within this trend line. If we do a support one, that's the best one that we can see here. Now this one in here has a connection within this bottom on 3 different hits, and this one within 2 because it had this pierce in here, and then this one towards that part there. And it's in the middle of this range, so if we break down, this might be where it makes the level towards, and breaking above this level, maybe we make it to the top part, because this is a very big range. Now we can't really do uptrend lines because we don't have data before here, but we can do that by simply going to the weekly chart, or maybe, we'll see anyway. So there's the weekly chart. We got the exact same downtrend as we had before. So what's the best uptrend? We can start within this breakout, and well, we had this uptrend which was violated, and then this one, which obviously has been violated, and well, I guess the next one will be that one. And I guess you could suppose, well, say this is one, but maybe the longer term time frames might have some even better ones. Let's go from the weekly chart, switch this to the 9-day chart, which is the next one on the list. So we have the exact same trend line up here. Still, of course, a little ways from being hit. Now, if we connect these pieces, again, we can still see that we have downside room left. But let's move on now from the 9-day chart to the monthly chart. And again, the same resistance line, which doesn't look quite as big on the more longer term charts, but again, it has to get above this trend line for there to be any conviction for the market to be going higher, that is. Now this is the interesting support line in here because it connects all of these key points. And there's probably many ways you can draw it. Maybe we can draw it to say that it's right on it now, and well, there we go right there. And that is when you connect two significant lows. The original one and this one in here. And therefore, when you connect it that way, what happens is it works to hit this level here, which was where the August breakout is, and that's where it's managed to so far find that level of significant support. So we'll now go from the month, and we're only got a couple left, which is the quarter and half year. And this is the quarter trend line analysis in here. Again, this is another trend line that's trying to find support. With only 3 candles, it's not even worth putting a downtrend line in it, but we already know it's this in here. And the significance within this trend line is that after finding support in here, again in here, breaking below, which then led to resistance, this big candle got above, a nice move higher, and now back to support. So therefore, if this is where it manages to come down to, and really doesn't retrace that much more, a couple dollars or so, then I guess maybe things will be looking fine. And even if it does slip below and recaptures it, that's also very much a big possibility, sort of like in here. It falls below it, but doesn't break down. And that maybe the same thing happens. You know, I don't know. But that's currently how the trend line is being faced. There's obviously, like I said, no downtrend lines whatsoever. This is the final chart. This is the 6-month chart, with each one of these representing 6 months in duration. Now, if we connect it like this, I don't know, nothing's going to really work within here. So it's pretty much the same old in here. This pretty much trend line, which is a little bit different than what we have seen before, but that's because we're connecting more of the lower support levels. And if I want to connect even more towards the low side, it would look something like that. Now, as far as this downtrend line, this one I found is quite interesting, because back in the day, this was the original downtrend line, which then got switched like that. And then in here, it got switched, and it keeps changing. And then the downtrend line switches, and then again, and then again, and now again. So it's pretty much a straight line. There is no downtrend line within the 1980 resistance period that we're currently facing with. And the 2 candles series that I see is a consolidation period, which means 2011 was a consolidation year, at least on a not neutral, at least on a level non-inflation adjusted, that is. So 2 sideways candles, but the significant part is the lows are holding up fairly nicely when you look at the previous lows within this type of chart. Okay, thank you for tuning in today, and have yourself a magnificent week. Bye-bye.